I want to ask you a little bit too about the recruiting journey. So you mentioned that UH was your, number one choice, right?
Yeah.
How was the recruiting journey like for you, I guess? Were there a lot of interest from California schools? Because I would assume that that's where you get a lot of your exposure.
Mm-hmm.
And was it a hard choice for you to decide what you should do or where you should go?
So there were a few schools that I talked to,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a really interesting process. You have to kind of talk to coaches through your club and your high school coaches, because I don't know how it is now, but at the time it wasn't legal for you to message back and forth with
Yes.
college coaches. But there was a few schools that I was looking into, but UH was always in the back of my mind. That was the school I ultimately wanted to go to. And I think my backup plan would have been Tennessee, which is totally opposite.
Yes.
Yeah. And a big reason was my senior year, I thought that I wanted to be a veterinarian. And so they have a really good veterinary medicine school there. And I'm so glad that I didn't go through with that, because definitely not a vet now. Very far from that. And so I'm glad I didn't make that decision based off of something I thought I wanted to pursue academically. But yeah, the recruiting process, it was a little stressful too, because in California, there's just California alone, there's all different kinds of players out there that are really competitive, and you kind of start to compare yourself to those other players and be like, oh, but they're doing these big things, and it's stressful for a high schooler.
Yes.
Yeah, I know at the time when I was this was kind of like my junior year when things kind of took off, and I think that's kind of normal around junior year, senior year, when girls are getting recruited. I know I was kind of competing with one other girl for that scholarship for UH to be that first recruit. And I think after kind of showing kind of what I could do for UH in that playoff run, I think that's kind of why they end up going with me.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And I mean, the rest is history when you got to UH. And we'll talk about that, a lot of the hurdles and obstacles that you overcame. Before we get into that, so during your high school year, were you coming back and forth to Hawaii? Did you take trips to Hawaii? And did you actually get to see Hawaii play live? You did?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah.
So did that give you even more, I guess, desire to want to play for Hawaii? Did you see games in San Sheriff too?
I did.
You did?
I remember one in particular. I think it was my junior year, actually. It was before playoffs, actually.
Okay.
And I took a trip out there, and oh gosh, they just took me around campus. They took me to a game, and I was just starstruck. I was, just kind of reaffirmed that I really wanted to go to UH and play for that program. And there was I couldn't find anything wrong with Hawaii. So that's kind of why I ended up choosing that school too, is there weren't any cons that I could think of. I wanted to get in touch with my heritage. I wanted to play for that program, and everybody was always so welcoming too.
It's something to see, I think, definitely playing in front of the Hawaii fans for volleyball. It's something different than other places across the nation. We have I think the fan base is very intelligent about the game of volleyball. They definitely have a lot of volleyball IQ, and it's just such a big sport in here. And usually, especially for women's volleyball, every game is packed, right? So you have a good support from the fan base here, and it's definitely an experience that I'm glad that you got to experience for your college career.